Transformers Animated, a wonderful show with bright and popping colors, fun and interesting characters, and an endearing and innocent plot. But underneath its kiddie exterior, it's also a frightening show about military dictatorships, deception, and corruption. Weird, right? Hear me out first. Though we all recognize that Animated has its darker elements, such as its characters' deaths and traumatic backstories, I don't often see conversations about how fucking despotic this post-war Cybertron is. In this video, we'll be exploring how Orwellian Cybertron's government is in this show, putting the spotlight on arguably one of Animated's less developed, but most interesting plot points. We're going to focus purely on the cartoon's plot events and not the ancillary media such as the comics or stage plays, since I'm not so sure about their status as official canon. With that said, let's see how truly despotic Cybertron is in this kids show. Yip hip hooray. In one of the Autobots history bits, we're explicitly told that the Autobots and Decepticons fought over control over Cybertron. From this, we can deduce this. It's essentially two armies fighting to rule the same land. For comparison, Sudan, a country that is a military dictatorship, has had a history of wars where militias have fought for control over the country. Of course, the difference is that, as far as we know, there has only been one war fought in Animated's timeline, and we have no idea what the government was like before the war. But, according to Megatron,
only then can we cast off the shackles of Autobot oppression. Working together, we can raise up our glorious empire once more.
It seems like the Autobots coalesced to overthrow the existing regime. After the war, were the Decepticons granted amnesty or given some sort of franchise or representation? Nope, they just got booted off their home. Furthermore, according to Wikipedia, a motif in military dictatorships is instability due to a failure to maintain support. Well, the Decepticons are still Cybertronians at the end of the day, and they certainly didn't support the Autobots' complete and unquestioned rule over the planet. Understandably, they tried to overthrow the Autobots in the actual show, very nearly succeeding, strengthening the similarities of the Autobot government to the actual militaristic dictatorships in our real world. And speaking about strengthening the similarities,
Decepticons are in our midst! Neighbors, friends, even your own model can be a spy. Do your duty and report any suspicious activity.
What is this scrap?
For your protection, all potentially subversive gathering places remain closed. As your Magnus, I will continue to defeat the Decepticon scourge and bring peace and security to Cybertron. I'm Sentinel Prime, and I approve of this message.
Do I even need to explain this one? Mandatory curfews and Red Scare tactics are just adding to this comparison. And what the fuck? Are the Auto Troopers the fucking secret police? And don't even get me started with Sentinel Prime. Who became Magnus after Ultra got severely injured? Why? None other than the second in command of the Autobot army. And with no democratic procedure to grant him that position. And let's not forget that Ultra Magnus, commander of the Autobot military, the Elite Guard, rules the planet. So he's not only the head of the military but also the government? Presumably with an unlimited term until death? That just solidifies comparisons to a military dictatorship. Furthermore, the only hint we're given about how a Magnus is chosen is that the Council chooses Cybertron's leader.
You named me acting Magnus to make the tough decisions.
Presumably then, that must mean the Council acts as a sort of checks and balances towards the Magnus, right? Just to ensure that the military figurehead doesn't have complete control over everything. Wrong. When Sentinel Prime endangered everyone by planning to destroy Omega Supreme without the Council's approval, all he got was a slap on the wrist.
What you did was reckless and in complete disregard for the rule of Autobot law.
And I'd do it again if it means saving Cybertron from the enemy.
At most, they're just a cabinet with no actual power. A counterpoint one might bring up is the fact that the Elite Guard might be more than just the military, due to the existence of intelligence officers, medical officers, and space bridge technicians. After all, the FBI and government-subsidized farmers aren't part of the military, right? Thus, we can't conclude that a military group is in charge of Cybertron. Well, just remember that those intelligence officers, instead of focusing on homeland affairs, directly participated in the war against the Decepticons, making them essentially part of the military. Same with those space bridge technicians. They are folded into the war against the Decepticons despite their job title. It seems like being an Autobot automatically makes you part of the military actually. Oh wait, it does.
You are nothing but a bumbler! From now on, your name is Bumblebee!
Bumblebee?
You got a problem with that, cadet?
Sir? No, sir.
A huge implication in this show that doesn't get talked about enough is that you're given your name in a militaristic style boot camp. Unless most of the population just doesn't have a name, that just means everyone is literally conscripted into the Autobot army. If not, imagine how inconvenient it would be to go like, hey you, no, not you, him, not you either. If names are necessary, and if they are given when you become some kind of soldier, then it's fair to conclude that Cybertron has a militaristic government that is supported by a militaristic society that they themselves manufactured. For a faction that is actively fighting a group called the Decepticons, the Autobots are pretty open to the art of deception. First off, let's remember how they treat organics. We mostly remember Sentinel for his xenophobia, but Ultra Magnus is just as bad as him. Like, seriously? He just parks his big ass ship in an urban area and refuses to communicate his intentions with what is clearly an advanced species with its own social structures and protocols? All because of what? We're organic? Yeah, sure, those spider things can be pretty freaky, but clearly not all organics are harmful. It's like saying we should treat Autobots like they're Decepticons just because they're both robots. And furthermore, he couldn't even be bothered to properly establish relations with us because
I, Sentinel Prime, speak to you at the behest of our great commander, Ultra Magnus, who could not be here because he has more important matters to attend to than to worry about this small, underdeveloped planet. Which is not to say that we of Cybertron mind helping out you, simple organics.
just adding to how xenophobic Magnus is at heart. And it's not like he tried to dispel the narrative to Cybertron's citizens after returning.
It's organic.
Hell, I'm sure there exist organic species willing to help out the Autobots against the cons and end the conflict quicker. And before you say that the Autobots wouldn't stoop to a moral level where they would get other races involved, just remember they're totally willing to use child soldiers.
In other words, you don't want him to think too hard about all the devastation he's gonna cause. And then what? Teach him how to be a doomsday device?
To be honest, I'm not sure why Magnus is xenophobic.
Which is not to say that we of Cybertron mind helping out you, simple organics.
But it most likely comes from a sense of superiority. Regardless, what matters most is that even though his opinions are proven wrong, he nor his successor made any effort to quash this damaging narrative, deceiving the rest of Cybertron to what lies beyond their own planet. This is a minor transgression compared to how the government suppresses speech, information, and the truth. Like, he was totally ready to hide vital information about the Decepticons from the rest of the population.
If word gets out that Megatron is still online and the Allspark is destroyed, it will create panic among our fellow Autobots and embolden the enemy.
But the truth is,
It's our duty to quash these rumors once and for all.
Bro, even in the case it does create mass panic, it's preferable to have the population on high alert than giving the Decepticons the complete element of surprise. You would also have more bots ready and willing to be drafted early in order to defend their home. Optimus Prime, being the true hero in the show, is threatened with a court-martial when he shows even the smallest hint of protest.
Sentinel Prime has informed me about your reluctance to cooperate. I strongly urge you to reconsider.
Man, Magnus is the most passive-aggressive dude I've ever seen in this franchise. Seriously, good on you, Shockwave, for putting down this megalomaniac. Oh boy, this is where the Autobot government really shows how fucked up they are. The elites in the government are pardoned for their royal fuck-ups they commit, while those below them are treated as if they killed their own fucking mother for the smallest mistakes. For instance, the entire boot camp episode just shows how bad this is. Sentinel Major badmouths the Supreme Commander on a fucking megaphone for all to hear.
I'm starting to think that Ultra Magnus is a few circuits shy of a full processor. You know what I mean? Oh, sure, he was the bot back in the day, but now, Ultra Magnus is just a rusted-out, obsolete model, sorely in need of an upgrade.
And he gets off scot-free. Bumblebee and Bulkhead accidentally knock a building over him out of self-defense, and Sentinel is able to get them working in arguably the worst job ever. Space Bridge cleanup duty.
This isn't gonna affect my elite guard status, is it, sir?
And bad-mouthing Magnus is the least of Sentinel's crimes. He nearly destroyed Cybertron when trying to blow up Omega.
With as much transwarp energy as he's absorbed, blowing up Omega Supreme could take out the entire planet.
Nearly got his entire team killed by a team of cons.
So you were right, big deal. You bots make such a cloud of exhaust about having fought Decepticons, but I'm capturing them!
And here I am, completely disarmed and helpless.
Wait! Everything he says is a lie. Sentinel, it's a trap!
Was more responsible than Optimus in getting Alita stranded.
You're not getting cold landing pads now, are you, Optimus, old buddy?
Refused to listen to Optimus's warnings about Longarm and getting Magnus killed.
That means the head of Autobot Intel is...
a Decepticon double agent.
Yeah, well, why didn't you tell me that in the first place?
Longarm, we know you're in there! Come out quietly and...
etc, etc, etc. And he gets off scot-free. And before you say that's because he doesn't get reported, that's not necessarily true. What really is responsible is the piss-poor excuse of a justice system the Autobots have. All it takes to conclude the Alita case is some vague-ass confession without additional evidence or a follow-up investigation, resulting in Optimus losing everything, while Sentinel gets to advance in his career.
I was the senior cadet, sir. Whatever happened was my responsibility.
Anything you'd care to add?
No, sir.
Then you leave me no choice. Cadet Optimus, you are hereby expelled from Autobot Academy and ineligible for service in the Elite Guard.
And if you want to talk about a shitty justice system, let's talk about Wasp. All it takes to implicate him is a communicator, which is ultimately circumstantial evidence.
What are you doing in Cadet Wasp's locker?
Exposing a Decepticon spy! Sir!
But I'm innocent, I tell you! You're making a big mistake, all of you!
Mute it, traitor!
And somehow, in the time he spent in the stockade, he just loses all sanity?
Bumblebot not hide from Wasp! Wasp swears he'd find Bumblebot! Wasp make Bumblebot pay for ruining Wasp's life!
I can't help but imagine that he was treated similarly to how Winston was treated by the party. That's fucking disturbing. And even when it's revealed he's ultimately innocent at the end of the day, he might still have to go back to the stockade?
Stay out of this, Optimus. This is a dangerous fugitive, and I'm bringing him in.
I don't know about you, but I see a government eagerly looking past the crimes of a high-ranking military official while throwing a Unicron-sized punishment to a recruit who was ultimately innocent. Man, don't you wish we got an animated season 4? Like, there's still so much story to tell, including Optimus's rise to power and potentially a reformed Cybertronian government. Ah well, animated is still one of the Transformers' best pieces of media, and I'm just happy we got something so amazing. Great things don't last forever after all. Though, if bringing back old 2000 TV shows isn't foreign, there's really nothing stopping Hasbro from doing the same. Whatever. I found this aspect of the show to be one of its most interesting plot points, though it is very much in the background compared to things like teamwork, forgiveness, and destiny. However, let this be a warning that a post-war Cybertron wouldn't be as hunky-dory as one might suspect. Remember to subscribe if you liked this video. Like this video too. It lets me know what you guys want to see from me and this channel. Give me a follow on my Insta too to see teases for future projects and videos. and I'm live on Twitter too. Want to see some of my shitty opinions? Then hit that follow button there as well. All links will be in the description below.